Hey, what's up? Like, totally time for 90210.
Well, hello everyone. Welcome back to the 90210 show. My name is Mark. With me, as always, is my girlfriend, Carol. How you doing on this glorious day, Carol?
Hey, what's up?
Not much. It's been a good week here. It is October 18th, 1996.
You had to think about that for quite a while.
Well, the calendar's not in front of us right now. What's her name? Who's the girl that does all the Trapper Keepers and stuff like that?
Lisa Frank?
Yeah, Lisa Frank. Our Lisa Frank calendar is not on the wall right now. So
I love Lisa Frank.
anyway, so yeah, it's been a hell of a week here.
A hell of a week, huh?
At the 90210 show. Don't you think, Carol? I mean, it's been quite a week here.
It was quite the episode, I'll tell you that.
Yeah. The show's starting to get worse but better at the same time.
Well, I mean, there's no argument about whether or not it's a soap opera.
No.
It's a soap opera.
There was really never any argument about it.
There was.
It's just you've matured as a woman and
No.
You've begun to see things the right way. My way.
Whatever. So, Tiffani Amber Thiessen.
Yeah.
What the hell's her name again? Veronica? Oh, Valerie.
Again, it's not the fancy Veronica. It's Valerie.
I just want her to be a Archie and Jughead character. That's
Okay.
all. Okay. So.
I guess that would make Jenny Garth Betty, right?
Right? Yeah.
That kind of fits, actually. All right, go ahead.
So, the Walshes were talking to her about... Well, she brought up Dylan to them.
Well, she brought up...
His father.
Jack McKay.
Yeah. Because she saw a picture of Dylan, like an autographed picture. Mm-hmm. That was so weird. Like, who does that?
That was Shannon Doherty autographing it to him when she got kicked off the show.
Right?
It's like, here, Dylan.
But yeah, so Dylan had given a picture of himself to Brenda, mm-hmm. and she saw that his last name was McKay. Mm-hmm. So then she brought up, do you guys know Jack McKay?
Uh-huh.
And, they kind of freeze, and then they're like, well, he's no good, and blah, blah, blah.
And his son.
Yeah. And then she's like, wait a minute. Dylan McKay is related to Jack McKay? Mm-hmm. So, like, didn't she know at that moment that he was rich?
She should have. Well, maybe. I don't know. Because he did have a fortune and then he lost a fortune.
Oh, that's true. So, yeah. So and then they're like, stay away from him. Like, Jim gets all angry. He's like, just he's no good. And
you could hear her moisten through the TV when he said that.
She literally started to drool.
Oh, yeah.
And then...
As you pointed out, he just made her 10 times... It just made him 10 times hotter.
Oh, yeah. And then she was talking to somebody else. Donna?
No, she was talking... My joke was about Donna. She was talking to Brandon.
Yeah.
And Brandon was talking about his money or something like that.
Well, he said, oh, yeah, my dad used to be his financial advisor.
That's right. And she goes, he's rich.
Yeah, and this like, really? Could he be hotter voice? And Brandon just like, oh, very rich.
And then she talked to Kelly, and Kelly was like, yeah, sex with him was really hot and good, but I mean, his dick was just too big.
Oh my God, she may as well have.
And then as she walked to meet Dylan, she passed by the Dylan McKay puppy rescue shelter.
But she just can't like contain herself. She must go to him, and she does, and it's pathetic and hilarious. I mean, it gets her where she wants to be. Don't you think?
Why did you think it was pathetic?
Okay, because she hears from somebody that he does nothing but, I think it was the Walshes, play pool.
Brandon says that.
Okay. He does nothing but play pool all night and sleep all day.
Yeah, and that of course attracts her too.
Now, if that is all the information she has to go on.
He's rich. he's a bad boy. She's seen him drunk and in action.
Right. But no. I'm saying, like, how did she find him? It's Beverly Hills. Like, it's not like this is a small town. She just knew exactly which pool hall to go to and exactly when.
She went to every pool hall in Beverly Hills till she found him.
And she may have. And again, that's kind of pathetic. I mean... But, I mean, she just shows up and, you know, she's just walks up to him and she does all the, you know, I'm a hot girl and I'm going to flirt with you shit.
Oh, yeah. It was very scripted.
Yeah. Yeah, it was like watching a football play or something, you know, like...
That's interesting.
Well, you know, they have the playbooks. They have everything planned out ahead of time.
Interesting analogy, sure.
I don't know.
But because she says he's racking up 9-ball. I mentioned it was 9-ball because I play some pool. I mean, not as much as Rich Dylan McKay, but I play some pool.
No, but remember, he's not rich anymore. He's only a millionaire. He's not like a bajillionaire.
Right. And she's like, 9-ball, is this anything like 8-ball? He's like, yeah, except that they call it 9-ball. And she's like, oh, maybe you can give me some pointers or something. He's like, you want me to break for you? And she goes, no, I can do it. And then, I hate this, by the way. For anyone that actually knows how to play pool, they almost never get pool right in movies and TV shows. The stance that she takes, the way she holds the cue, it's terrible.
Yeah.
And the follow-through, like, it wouldn't have been a good break. Like, they film her, and then they film the balls.
Well, yeah, because obviously she did not do the break.
And then she sinks the 9-ball on the break, which is it's not impossible, but it's very difficult to do. The 9-ball is, so the balls are set up like a diamond, and the 9-ball's right in the center.
Okay.
And so all the concussive force is going towards the 9-ball. It usually keeps it more towards the center of the table. Really hard to get it.
Hard? Is it hard?
How many months have you been waiting for me to make a verbal mistake?
Oh, I'm so happy.
You were all... that was like a pack of hungry dogs. If I dropped like a chicken bone or something, you hopped all over that.
Yes, I did. Oh my God, it's only fair. You never let anything slide.
But anyway, so she makes the 9-ball at the break, which is not easy to do.
So let me ask you, do you think that she was hustling or do you think she was lucky?
Well, she said that was the other thing that made her drool. Is Brandon's like, oh, he all he does is play pool all night and sleep all day, and she goes, pool, my dad's old game.
Oh yeah.
And he's like, I remember, and he might as well have been like, yeah, he also wears your dad's cologne and will give you the attention and validation you need that your dad never gave you. I mean, it's all set up for her. It's almost comical.
Right.
How she floats from room to room in the house and just keeps getting more and more information on him that makes him more attractive to her.
So then he invites her to go home with him.
Oh yeah, bold as brass, Dylan is. And
she's like, I want a man to ache for me, and walks away. Now that was pretty good.
She said not on the first date, and she's like, she says, I want a man to ache for me. And he says, oh, I'm aching. And she goes, not yet. And she walks away.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was decent.
So the next day, she goes back. Mm-hmm. Like,
she goes to the bar. She goes to the bar and waits for him.
Stalker.
Smoking a cigarette.
Stalker. Like, if she wasn't so hot, it would be creepy.
Isn't that always the way, though? Like, there's a ton of movies. Frickin' John Cusack holding up a boombox outside, whatever, in Nicole Sheridan's window. I mean, that's stalkerish behavior, too.
I don't think so.
Well, I don't know.
I mean, that was just romantic. They were already sleeping together. There was a relationship.
Okay, but if
he did that to get a first date, that would be weird.
What I'm saying is the rules don't apply to pretty people.
True. Right.
If a pretty person is... Because that's the thing. There are so many, like, I don't know, what do they call it? They call it, like being a pickup artist. That's what they call it. I think there's a movie about that. Actually, with John Cryer, I think, or something like that, of all people. But Ducky from 16 Candles.
Okay.
But, yeah, that's what it's like, trying to like pick up ladies, like being good at it, right? And there's so many things that they tell you to do to try to pick up ladies. Like, one of the things is, they call it negging, where you give them a compliment, but it's like a negative compliment.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, oh, not many women can pull off such combination skin, or like, you know, like something like that. I don't know.
If a guy says to me, a woman can't pull off such combination skin, then I assume that he wants to go shopping for beauty products because he's gay.
Well, we heard that phrase on Suddenly Susan last week, so I was trying to think of something, you know, that would be like a good negative. I don't do this stuff.
Right.
But that would be like a good negative comment, but whatever. They say to do stuff like that. And my point is, those tips only work if you're a good-looking guy.
Okay.
Because if you're a good-looking guy and you act kind of like an asshole, then some women, not all women, but some women,
broken, damaged women,
might respond to that and be like, interesting. This guy's interesting. I'm interested, or whatever. But if you're an ugly dude, that just gets a drink thrown in your face. That's how that ends.
Right.
So, yeah, those kind of things work if you're handsome.
Or beautiful and sexy, like Tiffani Amber Thiessen.
Correct.
She shows up wearing a fucking little black dress this time.
Yeah, it's similar to the dress she wore last week. I don't know if it was the same dress or not, but it looked similar.
Yeah. So then, you know, they end up in bed together.
We did not get to see her in her underwear this time.
No, they kept her covered with a sheet.
Yeah, but that's fine.
They were both very moist after they had sex.
They did.
I mean, like,
there were just a couple of moist people in there.
It was bizarre how sweaty they were. Like, it's like, you know, he has air conditioning.
Dylan, she rolls off Dylan, and he's like, yeah, sorry that the waterbed broke.
Right.
She's just spout behind them. That's kind of what it looked like. They were, if they were any wetter, it would have looked like a parody.
Yeah, it's like they were swimming, not fucking. They definitely were fucking.
Well, I mean, yeah. The characters were.
And, prior to that, he talked to Ian Ziering, to, what the fuck's his name? Yeah, Steve.
Steve Sanders.
And Steve mentioned that he was dating Valerie.
Yeah, he met a cool chick named Valerie that's living with the Walshes, and he goes, the Walshes?
Living at the Walshes?
Yeah, like no human being is allowed to interact with the Walshes at all.
And so then after they have had sex and taken a nap, she wakes him up and says, you know, take me home.
Yeah, and then he goes, stay a while, and she goes, I've got a curfew. Now, if I'm Dylan, and I've just had sex with a woman I barely know, who then says, I've got a curfew, I'm checking ID.
Yeah, I'd be a little concerned.
I am surprised that his first question out of his mouth was, how old are you?
Right.
He asks her several times, who are you?
Yes.
And she does not answer.
Yeah, did she just never tell him her name?
No.
That is fucked up.
And she gives bullshit answers like she was Minnesota Fats' daughter that went around the country with Paul Newman looking for pool games. Or she lived in the circus.
Yeah.
He does mention, he says, this is so funny too. He says, where did you learn that move?
I want to know what this move was that made them that sweaty.
What? Yeah, exactly. What move could she have pulled? And he said something about being a contortionist or an acrobatic person.
Right, like was she hanging from the ceiling? Was she doing the splits?
Yeah, were her ankles behind her neck? I mean,
oh, that's impressive. Yeah.
What are we talking about?
It had to be good.
But anyway, so she says, yeah, I got a curfew, take me home. So he's driving her home. He doesn't even twig that they're near the Walsh's house for some reason.
Well, first he's like, I can't believe you live in Beverly Hills.
Yeah.
Like why?
I can't believe a slut like you lives in Beverly Hills.
That wasn't very nice.
So, and she says something like, oh, I don't blend in or whatever. And he's like, why would you want to? Whatever.
Yeah.
But anyway, he's driving her, and she's like, oh, there it is right up there. And there should have been some buildup of him like, what what house do you live in?
Right.
And he's like, you live here. Is your name Valerie? And she's like, oh, news travels fast.
Yeah, well, and he aggressively opens the door like he's kicking her out of his car now because he's so pissed because she lives at the Walshes. What? I don't understand why he's angry at her now.
Well, he says this feels like a setup.
Yeah.
Which I don't... What does he think? Does he think that Jim pimped her out to, like, try to lure him back? Like, what is he thinking?
I don't know. It's really weird. I mean, Brenda's gone, so obviously it's not her.
No.
What does anybody stand to gain from this? Except Valerie.
Yeah, I don't know.
Unless he rightly suspects that she's setting him up because she wants his money.
Yeah, maybe. He would definitely be more on edge about that, I'm sure, now.
Because he said you knew exactly who I was when you walked into that bar.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, I think he suspects that she has ulterior motives now.
Yeah, that's possible. I don't think she does, though.
No, you think she just wanted a good ride? I mean, she's still flirting with Brandon, so...
I think she's intrigued by him because she was intrigued by him already because of his chaos. I think the fact that he's rich is just like a bonus to her.
Yeah.
Because she does say, like, when she says, I don't sleep on the first date, I'm not going to sleep with you on the first date or whatever, and he says, oh, you're looking for something more permanent.
Yeah. And she gave some bullshit answer to that, too, though.
Well, yeah, she gives bullshit answers to everything.
And he sounded almost incredulous, like, oh, you're looking for something more permanent? Because he's obviously not.
No.
So, whatever. We'll see what happens.
He got what he wanted.
And then, okay, Donna and Kelly need a roommate to replace David.
Yeah.
And Donna happily brings home a roommate to meet Kelly. And immediately I knew it was Claire.
Yeah. I told you they're shoehorning her into the cast now.
Yeah, why do they need two bad girls to replace Brenda, who was a good girl? That's what I mean. There wasn't even a villain before, and now...
No, there wasn't like there were situations, but there was no like main villain or anything.
I mean, if anything, Kelly was the bad girl.
Yeah. Well, she had a worse reputation.
And now she's like a good girl. I don't know.
She's with the king of the good guys.
Right. Yeah, they're very wholesome together.
Oh, yeah.
I imagine their sex to be very wholesome, too. Like, I think they leave their socks on.
Missionary
lights
style.
off. Yeah.
When they're done, not only are they not sweaty, when they're done, the bed's still made.
Right? And maybe she makes him milk and cookies after. I don't know. God.
After she milks him, she makes him milk and cookies.
Gross. So, yeah, Claire shows up, and immediately Kelly's like, yeah, no, that's not happening. Which is smart. She should keep that bitch as far away from her man as possible.
Uh-huh.
But Claire's like, oh, I'm over Brandon. I've moved on. From last week?
Right, and she goes, he was lousy in bed. And Kelly's like, how would you know? You never slept with him.
And she's like, that was the point. We never had sex, so that's made it lousy.
Right.
What?
That made no sense.
Like, I mean, just
was that supposed to be was that a lie that she just abandoned immediately, or was that supposed to be a joke? I don't understand.
I think she was testing Kelly to see how she'd react.
Maybe.
But either way, like, I mean, I think that was a warning sign, too, that something is off with this chick.
Right. But the only thing that's off with her in just typical cheese 90210 fashion is that she snores. She snores like my dad after a day-long bender.
Or like my mom, just in general. I used to cry. She snored so bad. And you know how light of a sleeper I am.
Yeah.
And so we had, our rooms were across the hall from each other. There's a whole hallway and 2 doors.
Uh-huh.
But I could still hear her. She still woke me up. It was terrible.
So I assume that you're glad that you moved in with me then? Or that we moved in together?
You snore too.
Not that bad.
Not that bad, but you do snore.
Just a little.
A little bit like a chainsaw, yeah.
Not as bad as Claire. Maybe I need what Claire needed.
Yeah, apparently Claire doesn't snore when she's with a guy.
Yeah, so she says to Kelly, so if Brandon's not busy.
That's not funny. Like, if I were Kelly, I would have hit her.
Kelly's like, yeah, it's not happening, Claire.
So instead, Donna goes out and buys her what looks like a blow-up doll, but it's a dude.
It is a blow-up doll.
Well, okay, but it's not for, like guy blow-up dolls have holes in them.
Do they?
Don't they?
I don't know. I've seen them in movies, like Bachelor Party with Tom Hanks.
Right.
But I've never actually seen a blow-up doll in person.
Well, I've never seen it in person either, but in the movies they have holes in them.
Well, I've never watched a movie where the holes are visible, so I don't know. But,
Well, there's a mouth hole.
Oh, yes. Okay, yeah. Yeah, that's true. I
assume there's also a lower part hole, but...
Yes, that's right. Blow-up dolls are always surprised.
Anyway.
But
this guy...
Do they... Like, I always thought that was more for novelty purposes than actual... How could that feel good?
I don't know.
Put your penis in, whatever.
Rubber?
Rubber, yeah.
I don't know. I mean, guys put their penis in rubber all the time. Anyway.
Jumps.
They get her this blow-up dude that's supposed to be for women who want to look like they have a guy in the car with them.
Right, yeah, so they don't get assaulted.
That's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard.
That's actually a thing, though.
I've never heard of it.
Well, in LA, it's a bigger problem, so I think that they also, and I think this is what they're really for, honestly. In Los Angeles, there's a carpool lane. There's so much traffic. There's the regular lane if you're by yourself, and there's a carpool lane if there's more than one of you in the car. So you put that little dude in there.
This feeds so much into the movie,
and then you
watched.
don't get pulled over because you got
right.
you can ride in the carpool lane now.
I think anybody could tell that's not a real person.
But at night in the dark.
I guess.
Put a hat and glasses on him. He would just look like Groucho Marx.
So they get her this blow-up doll, and it works. And she stops snoring because, that's
a normal thing.
Right.
She's all cuddled up with it, and I think all she really needs is to be elevated a little bit. She just needs a couple extra pillows, really.
She's never heard of a body pillow.
I haven't either. What is it?
It's a long pillow that you can wrap around and snuggle with.
So is this something for women to have sex with then?
No.
Like the blow-up doll is for guys?
Gross. No. It's not a masturbatory thing. It's
there's no vibrating option
thing.
with the body pillow.
You weirdo.
Because it could be like a massaging pillow. Massaging.
It's not.
Oh, okay.
I had one before, huh?
You had one before?
No, a pillow.
Oh, okay.
That's it.
A body pillow?
Dirty mind. Yes.
Have you ever heard anyone call it pillow?
No.
Say pillow.
Are you making fun of me again?
No, you're saying pillow. You're saying it correctly.
Okay.
But I've known a couple different people in my life who say pillow, and I think it's weird.
It is weird.
And I didn't know if you knew anyone that also mispronounced it pillow.
No.
Yeah, I think it's an East Coast thing, I believe.
So what else do we have going on in this episode? We have Brandon.
Yeah, Brandon we should probably do last.
Okay.
David has about, 3 minutes of screen time where he is now apparently cameraman for the college's local news, and he fucks up the thing a couple times, forgets to plug in a microphone, he sneezes on air.
Yeah.
And then he pranks the reporter at the end where he's like, "Oh no." And he's like, What'd you do this time? He's like, "Man, gotcha. I'm not as big of a fuck up as you think." It was stupid.
It was dumb.
That's all he does. Steve gloms onto Brandon's campaign like he gloms onto absolutely everything.
But he's still barely there.
I know.
They just mention him.
But he was passing out flyers in one scene, too. He's like a professional hanger-on, though. As soon as David showed any talent at all, or at least what the show called talent, he's like, I'm going to be your manager. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. And now that Brandon's running for office, he's like, I'm going to be your. He just anoints himself campaign manager.
Right.
Oh, I guess we could talk about Andrea a little bit too. Now, Andrea's storyline is heavily wrapped up in Brandon's storyline. So I guess we can talk about that all together.
As is her, self-esteem.
Yeah, apparently. Talk about daddy issues.
Very messed up. Like, if I were Jessie, I would not be okay right now.
No.
Because her feelings are deeply hurt. Like, she's very wounded.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Because Brandon is doing this campaign, which, by the way, we haven't really mentioned exactly what's going on. He is running for vice president with
Josh Strickland or Richland.
Richland.
Yeah, the guy that used to hate him.
Yeah, now they're running mates.
The reporter, they're running mates now.
And Andrea's like, he never asks my opinion anymore. He doesn't care what I think anymore. Because she has it in her mind, I guess, that having had a baby makes her less important, or I don't know.
Well, she mentions that it's almost like a throwaway line, but she says, like, I'm just a mom now, or something like that. First of all, hey, thanks, honey, that you don't give a shit about being a mom. Like, Isn't that an amazing adventure that you're on right now? No. But she's like, I used to be his editor or something. Like, she says something so dumb.
Yeah. Well, she's having the, like, big fish, little pond problem where, like, she went from being, the big wig to being nobody, basically.
To being no wig.
Yeah. I mean, whatever. She's still awesome, I guess.
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter because there's lots of awesome people there.
But yeah, so Brandon and Josh are running as independents.
Yeah. There's like 18 different parties in this school? It's bizarre.
Yeah, it's really weird. There's some Latino party. Like, at first I thought that was the name, and then I was like, is that offensive what they're saying? And then it was like, no, that's the name of the party. It's like the Latino... I don't remember what it was, but it's Latino something party. Then there's the Greeks. Mm-hmm. All the Greeks get together. Also, all the fraternities and sororities, I'm guessing.
Right.
They get together and they have a party. The progressives have a party. They're independents, Josh and Brandon. I assume there's conservatives. They never mention them, but I assume there's conservatives. And there's some sort of, like, brotherhood party, like the black party.
Yeah. Like, Deshaun mentions that he is neutral and that Brandon should appreciate that because he's getting all this pressure from the Brotherhood or whatever.
Yeah, the Brotherhood wants me to endorse a black man.
So he's still going to vote for Brandon, though.
Why does his endorsement matter?
Deshaun?
Yeah,
he's popular.
Okay, but I've never ran for office in college.
Okay.
So I don't know exactly how it works, but I wouldn't imagine that the local basketball player at your college saying, like, I'm voting for this guy is going to sway a ton of people.
Right.
Like, who gives a fuck?
I don't know. But they do.
Yeah.
So there's all that going on. And then the Latino party just decides to lie and say that...
Well, let's first get to, because I thought this was funny.
Okay.
They have this forum. They set up a couple things early because Brandon's driving with Josh, and he's like, you suck as a driver. And he's like, I grew up in New York. I only learned to drive when I got out here. And he's like, yeah, we almost killed that woman. You're a fucking menace. You need to stop driving. And he's like, whatever. And then his car breaks down.
Yeah.
On the way to this
debate.
That's what it was. And so Brandon's forced to get up there, and everyone's arguing. It's big. For some reason, this is the weirdest thing I've ever seen. There is a huge audience. Mm-hmm. I don't know what college in the country is packing an auditorium to listen to 18 different parties debate, but they're there, and they're all arguing back and forth. It's not really a debate.
No.
Everyone's just arguing. You can't hear anything.
Yeah, they're yelling over each other. It's ridiculous.
Not moderated well at all. the person in charge is banging the gavel, and she's like, whatever, Brandon and Josh, you go speak. And so Brandon gets up there because Josh isn't there. And he's like, yeah, Josh is not here because he's stranded in his car.
He's with his car.
And everyone laughs like it's a funny joke. It's not a funny joke.
No, it was a terrible joke.
And he says, this is my favorite part. He says he's the lucky one, though, because he doesn't have to waste his time being here and listening to everyone argue all over the place and not say anything. Not say anything of any substance, not talk about the issues. And then he goes on to say, like, if we... The thing that they all have in common is they all go to California University. And if they don't work together and listen to each other, then everything's going to die. And then everyone claps like he's the greatest person in the world. And he goes and sits down. And I just love how Brandon got to also say nothing. Mm-hmm. What he said did not address issues or anything. He also got to say nothing, but he was saying nothing about how saying nothing is awful, and then he's the good guy.
Yeah. It
was a perfect political move.
It was kind of ridiculous. So, yeah.
That gets him a lot of fans. And then the thing happens that you said.
Yeah. So then the Latinos come up with, because they're threatened now.
And you know what happens when Latinos are threatened? The knives are coming out.
Wow. They say that Brandon took a test for Deshaun because Josh Strickland wrote an article saying that and just never published it.
He had some idea, or there was hearsay or something, and he wrote an article, and then he didn't publish it because it turned out not to be true.
And like Brandon said, then why didn't you delete it? But, like, I still don't understand how they fucking got it in the first place. It's terrible.
Somebody in the newspaper gave it to him. Somebody betrayed them.
So there's all this, tension about Brandon's going to get kicked out of school and they're going to have to drop out of the race. And it's so stupid because,
ridiculous.
Like, it's not proof. It's one article with no proof.
One article that wasn't written specifically because there's no proof.
Yeah. So... Donna goes off and finds Deshaun. They send Donna to go find him. I think they're going to get together.
I hope so.
Because he seems like he is really into her, and she's circling around.
Well, they couldn't find them for a while.
Yeah.
So I think maybe something was going on there.
Maybe. I don't know. I was expecting that to be alluded to, but when we actually saw them, it didn't seem like it.
She was kind of wiping her mouth a little bit.
She was not.
They should have painted a hickey on her neck. Just very subtle.
Right.
But there.
So Deshaun comes in and says, absolutely not. The reason that I had to, learn and, actually read the books and take the tests.
It's because of Brandon.
Is because Brandon is who he said, the person that he is. And if it had been anybody else, they would have taken the test.
It basically says, look, you don't think I wanted to fucking cheat? Of course I did. I wanted to cheat and just skate by, but I couldn't. Because Brandon's a hard ass. But I thank him because now I actually can use my brain. And then he's like, and anyone that thinks that I don't have the smarts to actually get into this school, you're racist.
Yeah.
That's what it says.
So.
And that shuts that shit down real fast.
So they have everybody at the Peach Pit waiting for
the results. Oh, yeah, by the way, Steve and Kelly get nominated or elected or whatever to count the votes.
It's ridiculous.
His girlfriend and his best friend.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would happen. That'd be like if Hillary Clinton counted the votes.
Right. Yeah, it's ridiculous. You'd think they'd have like school staff or something doing that.
Yeah. Or yeah, exactly. Some kind of faculty advisor or something.
But yeah, they have them counting the votes. And while they're waiting, Josh Strickland comes... Richland. Are you sure?
Yeah, I incorrectly said Strickland earlier.
No, you've got it in my brain.
Yeah, and you just inherently trust everything I say, so now you think it's Strickland.
Sure. Keep telling yourself that. We'll see if we can fit your head out the door. Anyways.
I'll say it's because of me that you don't understand what 8 inches is.
That I don't understand what?
What 8 inches is.
Wow.
Every crayon's 8 inches long, right, Mark? It's a self-deprecating joke for me.
Wow, that is wrong on so many levels.
Anyway, go ahead.
Okay, Brandon and his running mates are talking.
Well, actually, Brandon's technically the running mate. Josh Richland is running for president.
Aren't they?
I guess, yeah, okay. Yeah, I guess they're both running mates.
Anyway, Jesus Christ.
No, Jesus Christ is not in this episode.
Josh wants to go for a drive. And Brandon says no thanks. And immediately then, too, I called it. I said, Josh is going to die.
Yeah, and I said car accident because they've established now that his car sucks and he's a bad driver and he sucks. And what I don't understand is why Brandon doesn't just go, let's take my car. I'm a better driver.
Right.
But he doesn't.
No, he's just like, I'm not getting in that car with you.
I read the script.
Right.
So Josh goes driving off, and I said, "Are we gonna see it? Are we gonna hear it?" And we do hear the and then the giant crash. And for some reason, I'll never know why. The fucking angels don't save Josh.
It was his time.
Steve should have ran out and been like, "Where are they?"
But yeah, a semi-truck just like rails into him and pushes his car down the street in front of the camera.
And it's like, and it's a horrific crash. So you're thinking like, ooh, maybe he's just grievously injured. Then the car is engulfed in flames.
Yeah. Brandon's running over to try to save him, and the car explodes. Like, nope.
See ya, Josh. So then they take him away on a stretcher, a body bag, totally covered. In reality, I think they would have taken him away on a sponge.
Right. And then Kelly is there and says, quietly,
perfect timing,
under
by the
her
way.
breath,
perfect timing to do this.
You won. Like, no, are you fucking kidding me?
And I called that, too.
Yeah.
And you said he's going to have to be the president now. And that's what it's going to be. He didn't even want to fucking run for vice president.
No.
Now he's going to be president. And everyone's going to be like, oh, yeah, he pushed Josh's car into the road so he could be president. It's going to be like how everyone thinks LBJ killed John F. Kennedy. It's
so weird. Like, he doesn't want a career in politics, but I think he's going to have one.
Yeah, that seems to be where he's going. Well, he always talks about, like, Bill Clinton and, like, that's his big hero and stuff.
Yeah. I mean, there are worse heroes,
Bill
Bill
Clinton would have had sex with Claire, I'll tell you that.
I don't know. I think Brandon still might, end up having sex with Claire and or Valerie.
God,
I almost called her Veronica.
You want that to happen so bad, don't you? You want
threesome. No, make it a foursome. Bring Lucinda in too.
Oh my God.
Oh, that'd be good.
Yeah. Well, why don't we just get those dolls, the 90210 Barbie dolls or whatever, and then you can reenact it.
Because there's no Claire and there's no Lucinda.
There's a Valerie now?
No.
I wonder if they'll make a Valerie.
They should.
Yeah, they should make a Valerie, and then we can, we can make bootleg copies of Lucinda and Claire.
I don't know. Claire has super short hair. It's hard to find Barbies. With super short hair.
Yeah, that's the worst idea of that plan.
Anyway.
But that's the episode. Josh dies, Brandon's president, and Kelly has no sense of timing or
propriety. Yeah.
All right. Well, that's our episode. Carol, why don't you tell the people whatever.
So go to our website at www.retrolatefee.com.
Do that, yeah.
And write us at latefee1994@aol.com.
We'd love to hear from you.
And tell all your friends.
Yeah, tell every friend you know to listen to the show.
Hey, we found this tape and you have to hear it.
That's right.
That's what you do.
We'll see you next time. Bye.